Hello! And you're probably guessing, why am I making this video right now? First off, I'm talking about one of my favorite pastimes, tabletop gaming, and second, about my favorite system I've ever seen, and I'm about to play again, and that's Palladium Fantasy 2nd Edition. Why this, though? Well, it's a long story, but I'll try my best to explain. Picture this, your typical high fantasy world, but a lot more realistic in its activity and behavior. Sounds boring? Actually, no. It makes it funnier when your character rolls terribly on a horror factor check, and they got afraid and runs away crying like a child, or you just make that horror factor check and not get traumatized. Speaking of horror factor and trauma, they add a lot more depth into the game, adding a lot more life into it, I guess. It also has a lot newer bits, like new races and such, so you could try something cool, like the classic elves, dwarves, gnomes, humans, but you could also be like a troglodyte, a subterranean race that's very strong, but really dumb and are basically cavemen tools-wise. Or maybe the wolfen, giant, strong wolf humanoids who are hated by humans because they have their own bloody empire. The choice is yours, and there's multiple classes and races that you can be, which are still unique. If you like tabletop games that have history, well, this is for you. There's also new monsters and such, and dragons, gods, cities, and their own separate source books divided by regions or just the actual topic itself. And I just love the fact that there's a ton of work with if you buy these source books and such. But enough about the actual books itself. Let's talk about how it actually plays. It plays with the following dice. D20s, like usual, percentile dice, which are 2d10s, one being the first digit and the other being used for second, for a total of 1 to 100. Some d6s, d4s, and d8s, and that's pretty much all you would need. You use the d20 to roll initiative, attack, parry, pretty much everything else except skills and the following. Skills are you use d10s for skills, and skills are reserved mostly for skill checks, and on rare occasions, stat checks if you lack the skill, but you really want to do that backflip to impress that one person. I don't know. Skills range from something as mundane as cooking good food to something as epic as being able to ride exotic and odd animals and such, or maybe even like lockpicking for like thieves and such. D4s, 6s, and 8s are used for damage of weapons or magic if you can use them. Speaking of weapons, there's tons of weapons and pretty much anybody can use any weapon. And the exception being like some clergy or men of magic that can't use weapons. There's technically 5 types of occupational character classes, or OCCs. I just call them classes because it's easier to say and is more common. There's men of arms, which are your typical steel weapons and bows, like paladins, thieves, longbowmen, etc. Next are like men of magic, which use spells to some degree and other magical abilities, like wizards, warlocks, witches. Warlocks and witches are way different, by the way. Diabolists, summoners, etc. And the last one of the regular classes are clergy classes, which praise a god of light or dark respectively and gain their powers by gods in some way. Whether they praise a god of light or dark kind of depends on their alignment and how they see the world and type of thing. Examples of clergy being priests of light and dark respectively, warrior monks, druids, etc. And mention that I said 5. Well, there's also psychic character classes, which have their own psychic powers and rules and are extremely terrifying to people. Just for this, I'm not going to go into a ton of detail on them since they're really complicated. There's also optional character classes like merchant, noble, peasants, which aren't really suited for adventures, but are there because who doesn't like some variety or just a weird game where everyone's pretty much normal, like peasant or a merchant? Also, it kind of helps when you're the GM and you're like, what skills would a merchant or noble have? Well, they're right here, which is always very useful. Also, on top of that, there's a realistic alignment system with 3 categories of alignment, which are good, selfish, and evil. There's no neutral. Absolutely none. Why? Because if you truly were, you'd do absolutely nothing, or you'd switch sides all the time depending on what you'd want, which is not fun. Now, let's talk about the alignments from most good to evil. First are principled and scrupulous, which are good alignments and pretty much do the right thing all the time, and the basic do-gooder we all know and can depend on. All of that stuff, like your good paladin that never lies to you and always knows the right thing to do. Next are selfish alignments of unprincipled and anarchist, which are greedy and want whatever. Well, unprincipled is mostly good and does the ultimately good thing, but is greedy at the same time, and sometimes lies. Anarchists usually want something out of it, whether it be gold, weapons, etc. Sometimes information, it depends on the character. And finally, there's the evil characters, which consist of aberrant, miscreant, and diabolic. They are very different. They're actually quite different when you take them apart. Aberrant characters are evil, but with a coat of armor. They sometimes do questionable things, but ultimately for the greater good of the group. Like torturing a guy for information on whether their buddy is being locked up. Not like torture or anything, but just enough so they can get information to find out where their buddy is being locked up. And probably getting tortured themselves as well. So, you get what you get, I guess, for aberrant. Next is miscreant, where they're the typical evil person, where they only want things for themselves, and himself only, or themselves, and will do anything to reach their goals, even if it means killing friends, or doing whatever. They want to be the highest of power. They're basically a corrupt tyrant character that always want anything in order to get either power, money, whatever. They'll do anything, including people and party members if they are that alignment and it benefits them. And finally is diabolic. The most evil of characters and not recommended as a player's alignment, at least player character's alignment, because diabolical characters, no, they won't just kill party members left and right. No. They'll kill them when they're down on their feet. They'll make them beg. They'll make them wish that they killed them faster. They'll make them regret everything. They'll make them absolutely hate the person. That's diabolical characters. Also the fact, while they're doing that, they'll love every minute. They are evil at their core in the Palladium world, and they most certainly are probably the bad guy. Because, I don't know, probably because he kept torturing Jim over there and wouldn't just bloody kill him. I don't know. That's just pretty much why I like this game. It's really in-depth, really amazing, just a really solid game system that I absolutely love. And I'm actually gonna try out soon. Maybe even record a few sessions here and there. Who knows? I'm probably gonna record a session, yeah, so stay tuned for that. If I am, guess what? More videos on tabletop games with probably my favorite system that I'm gonna be GMing for the first time, so get used to be hearing to a lot of dice rolling in the future. So, that's pretty much it. This is just my little mini rant of Palladium. And then I'm going to probably start it soon. So, yeah. See you guys in the next video. Or probably even in the Palladium tabletop game. Who knows? See you guys then.